You must be Pamela, right?
It is Mrs. Kaikara to you.
Let me prepare something small for you.
Thank you. I'm well staffed.
You make a very good cook.
These people are watching each and every move that you're making. Uchunge sana usisleep wewe.
Watu na waelewa. I forgot all about life.
If life feels that way, then why did you leave it?
And that's one thing, Mwelewi. My life is my career.
I will summon my husband.
Let's talk outside.
What has brought you to Kenya?
A wife needs to take good care of the hubby.
Why did you have to come all the way? Mr. Kaikara here was very well taken care of by Jacinta.
Who is she?
Six minutes to the top of the hour, and you're right in time for the latest reports of what is shaping news tonight, including the government's concerns that a majority of Kenyans who got jobs abroad have actually turned into alcoholism. Also, much later, we look at biological solutions to methane. It has been termed as the second largest contributor to climate warming. My guest is already in studio. We'll be having that discussion later. But as is tradition, the highlights. Two police vehicles set ablaze. Chief's office vandalized in chaotic Majengo protests. Hospitals claiming over 10 million shillings from the defunct NHIF to be subjected to a verification exercise. High Court extends orders blocking Judicial Service Commission from hearing petitions seeking Chief Justice Martha Kome's ouster. And President Ruto receives credentials from 5 newly posted ambassadors to Kenya. Thank you for choosing KBC Channel 1 to inform you this Wednesday night. My colleague JJ Curia is away. He'll be back soon. Nonetheless, the broadcast continues. I'm Doreen Arange. Lucy Maura is our sign language interpreter. Now, 2 police vehicles were torched and a chief's office vandalized in Majengo Estate as police clashed with irate protesters over the fatal shooting of a 17-year-old boy on Tuesday night. Police say the boy was being pursued by officers on suspicion he was transporting bang when an angry mob intervened, forcing the police to open fire, shooting him during the melee. Human rights activists have condemned the incident.
These were the scenes in Majengo Estate on Wednesday morning. The protest over the death of a 17-year-old boy named Ramadan Shege on Tuesday night sparked the protest, leading to chaos. Smoke from torch police vehicles could be seen from a distance as the protest burned down to police vehicles and police houses before vandalizing the chief's office. The chaos forced police to lob tear gas canisters to disperse the irate crowd.
Alhamdulillah, Mama. Baba,
According to the family of the deceased, their kin was shot while heading home after attending prayers in a nearby mosque.
Ikawa na shoot, akashutiwa kwanza, wa pili, wa tatu. Wanne ni Ibrahim akashutiwa kichwa. Alikuwa na shoot mwingine, huyo akamuona akalala, ikakuja imempata, ndio Muksara akasema, Ibrahim ulikuwa nyuma yangu. Sasa mimi niko hapo hivyo nimeketi, ninaendelea tu na shughuli. Mtoto mdogo ndiye alikuja akasema, "Ma, ni Ibrahim."
He was later pronounced dead at Kenyatta National Hospital. However, in a rejoinder, police say the boy was being pursued by 2 undercover officers as he was believed to be transporting a bag with bang when a mob of youths intervened, forcing the police to open fire, leading to his fatal shooting. The shooting has since received condemnation from human rights activists. This comes as the body of an unidentified man was found lying in an alley in Shaurimoyo, allegedly with a knife wound. Police say preliminary investigations show his death is not related to the protests. Give us in Minor, Prime Edition.
President William Ruto has reaffirmed Kenya's commitment to strengthening international relations and build ties with friendly nations. Speaking after he officially received the credentials of 5 newly appointed ambassadors at a ceremony held at State House in Nairobi, the president emphasized the importance of fostering stronger bonds of friendship and promoting the mutual aspirations of the people of Kenya with the world. The envoys representing Greece, Cuba, South Korea, Angola and Vietnam respectively presented their credentials at the ceremony.
President William Ruto officially received the credentials of 5 newly appointed ambassadors, signaling a new chapter in Kenya's international relations. The envoys who presented their letters of credence at State House Nairobi included George Siakas from Greece, Ines Fos Fernandez from Cuba, Kang Usinki from South Korea, Mario de Azevedo from Angola, and Vuthi Than from Vietnam.
I, William Samuel Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, by dint of Article 132(4)(b of the Constitution of Kenya, do accept your letters of credence and authorize you to pursue the interests of your government within the territory of Kenya.
Speaking at the ceremony, President Ruto reaffirmed Kenya's unwavering commitment to deepening bilateral ties with these nations and expanding cooperation in key areas such as trade, security and cultural exchange.
By fostering the bonds of friendship and promoting to the widest possible the interests and aspirations of our 2 nations.
The president emphasized the importance of building friendships and stronger bonds across the world with like-minded nations.
Welcome to Kenya. I look forward to working with you, and my very best wishes.
The event, attended by Deputy President Kithure Kindiki, senior state officials and embassy representatives, marks the official commencement of each envoy's mission in Kenya. The event also opens doors for deeper diplomatic and economic engagement between Kenya and the countries represented, with the envoys now fully empowered to engage in various initiatives aimed at deepening ties. Ben Chumba, Prime Edition.
Catholic faithfuls across the country converged in their respective places of worship to mark the beginning of the 40 days of Lent period, a season that mainly emphasizes repentance. Prayer and almsgiving starts with Ash Wednesday. In Nairobi County, faithfuls converged at the Holy Family Basilica with Father Boniface Mburu, inviting the congregation to embrace a spiritual journey of repentance and renewal. Here's that story by John Kahiru.
Wednesday at the Holy Family Basilica in Nairobi, Catholic faithful thronged the church to celebrate the Ash Wednesday. A moment that, according to the Catholic Church liturgical calendar, ushers in the Lent season. The usual merriment and vibrant atmosphere at the Basilica was today replaced by a solemn mass as the congregation took the moment to reflect on their faith. The clergy leading the service administering ashes in the shape of a cross on the foreheads of the faithful, a symbol of human mortality and a call for penance and repentance. Presiding over the Holy Eucharistic celebration, Father Boniface Mburu urged the congregation to stay away from sin and embrace giving alms to the less fortunate in the society.
Leo kwa njia ya kipekee tuakumbushwa the ugliness of sin. Hayo majivu ambayo hatuyatakangi in the normal circumstances, hiyo ndiyo ambayo tunayopakwa siku ya leo. Tunapowasaidia wale ambao ni wanyonge, wale ambao wasiojiweza, si lazima mkono wako wa kushoto ujue vile ambavyo mkono wako wa kulia umefanya.
I'm going there with a lot of peace and my relationship with God feels renewed.
And in Mombasa County, the Catholic faithful joined their counterparts across the world in ushering in the 40-day Lent season at the Holy Ghost Cathedral. Archbishop Martin Kivuva of the Archdiocese of Mombasa taking the opportunity to call on the government to address the teething challenges bedeviling the implementation of Social Health Authority.
Wazi na ukweli, that's all we are looking for. Kwa sababu inaonekana kuna mambo leo tumeona wamesema hata si ya serikali. So you're stranded, unasema ni ya nani? Na Kenya yetu ni ya serikali hii, hatuna nyingine. So jamani, suluhisho, kuna washikadau wanaoshauriana jambo hili. Wawe wazi, wawe open, na wasisahau kuna madeni ambayo wanaipasha kuyashughulikia hata tunapoendelea kuandikisha kwa SHA.
Similar celebrations were marked in various Catholic churches in Kiambu County as religious leaders rallied the congregation to seek spiritual renewal. Having celebrated the Holy Ash Wednesday, the Catholic faithful now embark on a spiritual journey of reflection, repentance and renewal, even as they usher in the Lent season. John Kahiro, Prime Edition, from the Holy Family Basilica, Nairobi.
To some health matters, President William Ruto says the Social Health Authority has paid 18.2 billion shillings as of January 31st, 2025, 4 months since its inception. The president in a statement said hospitals owed by the defunct NHIF below 10 million shillings in claims, which represent 91% of all facilities, will be paid in full. Facilities claiming over 10 million shillings will be subjected to verification exercise that shall be completed within 90 days, after which payments will be agreed on. His sentiments come as Health Cabinet Secretary Dr. Deborah Baraza steered clear of the alleged 104 billion shillings Social Health Authority system, saying the debate on the matter was put to rest by the president.
In a statement, President William Ruto announced the government's plan to clear the debts by the defunct National Health Insurance Fund, which stood at 33 billion shillings as of November 2024. The plan entails full payment of all hospitals with total claims of 10 million shillings and below in full, representing 91% of all facilities that were contracted by NHIF. However, hospitals with claims above 10 million shillings will have to wait a bit longer as a verification exercise is conducted. The head of state has, however, said that the exercise will be completed within 90 days, after which payments will be agreed upon. The verification committee will be gazetted by the Cabinet Secretary within a week. He said that under the Social Health Authority, current claims will continue to be paid within a month. The development comes as Health Cabinet Secretary Dr. Deborah Baraza says the debate on the 104 billion shilling Social Health Authority system was put to rest by the President in his remarks on Tuesday.
I believe the President addressed that yesterday. Yes. The President addressed that yesterday. We are cognizant of the issues that were raised by the Auditor General. The Ministry clarified and substantiated each issue and provided the management report to the Auditor General. These issues have been comprehensively addressed by the accounting officer, who is PS, Medical Services, and again, they will be expounded more exhaustively in Parliament if given a chance.
The CS, however, assured the country that the new system will overcome the teething problems and Kenyans will soon appreciate its outcomes.
Under this new system, facilities will receive funding based on verified data of services provided, ensuring fairness, efficiency, and accountability in how healthcare are distributed.
Please, Kenyans, when you do the entire journey, make sure that your spouse and your children are on the system, because you could be up to date in your payments, but if you have not onboarded your dependents, they will not be able to access the services.
The CS maintained that data collected from Kenyans is safe. Meanwhile, the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers wants the Social Health Authority Acting Chief Executive Officer Robert Ingasira and its chairman Dr. Mohamed Abdi out over alleged discrimination.
The only answer to SHA is by removing the management. They have gone against the law because the law says they empanel all health workers, not only doctors, not only clinic officers, not only nurses, all health workers. They have only empaneled the doctors only.
All these officers, who are the majority clinical practitioners in this country, were removed from practicing under the SHA, where they cannot give services to any patient who is registered under SHA. So that is limiting services.
The leaders who received the petition vowed to act, saying that some individuals were out to sabotage the healthcare of Kenyans.
We received your petition and quickly register it because the week is moving very fast, so that we put it on the order paper and the program of the health committee.
Na mimi, in consultation with your official, I have already drafted a censure motion against the CEO of Social Health Authority. We don't have enough medical practitioners. Even those small hospitals, you have only clinical officer. So if you remove them from being part of the parliament, then it destroys the access to universal health coverage. Na sisi hatutakubali.
Nancy Okware, Prime Edition.
That story by Nancy Okware is what takes us on our first break tonight. We'll circle back with plenty more, including that discussion. Stay with us.
Kupitia star 570 hash tunakupa nafasi ya kuchomoka na this beautiful Mazda Demio. Enjoy a beautiful clean semi-leather interior, low mileage, fuel-efficient 1300cc engine, great for personal use and business. Ukitaka kujishindia gari hii, kucheza ni rahisi sana. Chukua simu yako, bonyeza star 570 hash, chagua option 3. And for only 35 shillings, hii gari inaweza kuwa yako. Kumbuka kucheza mara kadhaa, because the more you play, the higher chances of wewe kuwa mshindi.
Mungu ni mwema, asante Mungu. Ile nitakuwa naendesha hivi.
Dial star 570 hash and make this dream car yours.
Cheza Loto Moto. The world of governance is vast and can be alien to the ordinary man on the street.
Critical issues are going to be discussed.
From white papers to policy positions, it is easier to get lost in the labyrinth of words.
Inside Government takes you to key global metropolis where critical decisions are made and where policies are crafted.
We interview policymakers and senior government officials to highlight and enumerate government policies and projects. We take a deep dive into the underbelly of complex red tape to demystify policies across the country, across the world. Join me, O'Brien Kimani, on Inside Government, only on KBC Channel 1.
Welcome back. Now, the Ministry of National Treasury and Economic Planning has revealed that 50 out of 100 programs have been affected by the freezing of USAID foreign assistance. The Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi appeared before the Senate Wednesday morning to explain the impact of the funding halt and the government's response.
Had projected 52 billion shillings from USAID in the 2024-2025 financial year, funding critical sectors such as education, previously allocated $22.3 million, governance $8.6 million, and food security $128 million.
The said programs is approximately 158.9 million US dollars, equivalent of about 20 billion Kenya shillings, while the total assistance, including health and the others, is approximately US dollars 405.4 million, which is about Kenya shillings 52 billion. For the financial year 24-25, from USAID, which, as I've indicated, includes other sectors such as health, economic growth, water and environment.
Speaking at the Senate, Cabinet Secretary for Treasury John Mbadi clarified that while the funds were not reflected in Kenya's national budget, they were channeled through implementing partners overseeing the projects, even as he assured the country that essential services such as health shall not be affected as the government is working to cover the funding gaps.
The National Treasury plays a subsidiary role in facilitating tax exemptions. So that is something worth noting, that this has been off-budget financing. With the affected state departments, we are conducting a review of our existing budget allocations to prioritize funding for essential services in sectors such as health, education, governance and food security to be included in the budget estimates supplementary 3 if it becomes very necessary, because if this funding stops abruptly and there are critical areas, we cannot wait for the 2025-2026 budget.
Mbadi acknowledged that the freeze highlights Kenya's vulnerability to foreign aid dependency. Despite the cuts, some foreign-assisted programs, including life-saving initiatives, the Haiti mission, emergencies and food aid, will continue receiving support.
The programs out of this executive order, which have been running in this country, were about 100. With this executive order, the programs may reduce only to 15. So, Mr. Speaker, even as we pursue these risk mitigating measures, we remain hopeful that we shall continue strengthening our bilateral ties with the US, notwithstanding of the outcome of the 90-day review on foreign aid.
In a separate Senate session, Labour and Social Welfare Cabinet Secretary Dr. Alfred Mutua faced criticism after stating that Kenyan workers abroad have developed a reputation for misconduct affecting job opportunities.
Is that the appreciation of the ministry of the caliber of Kenyans that we send outside the country for jobs abroad? The Speaker is House of Record. It will be important for the minister to come clean on whether that is what the ministry appreciates.
Senator Kio, I'd like to just clarify that I never said that Kenyans are big-headed activists. I was reporting what they told me.
He further claimed that no deaths of Kenyan workers had been reported in Asian countries in the past 3 months, a statement that sparked mixed reactions among lawmakers.
In Vihiga County alone, this year, I have so many cases of people who have died in the Middle East in the similar cases. Mr. Speaker, I want you to caution the Cabinet Secretary to withdraw that statement.
You gave an explanation of a person who has passed away. I'm not aware of that. I will investigate and I'll find out the cause of death of this person. You say they were murdered. We will find out. Murder is a police case.
Kamche Menza for Prime Edition.
The High Court has extended orders blocking the Judicial Service Commission from hearing petitions seeking the ouster from office of Chief Justice Martha Koome and the Apex Court judges. In granting them temporary reprieve, Judge Lawrence Mugambi further directed an application filed for the formation of a bench to hear and determined the case to be heard on 28th of March. But as Ruth Wamboi now reports, Senior Counsel Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi and lawyer Nelson Harvey protested the court's decision, citing it as a deliberate plot to shield the apex court judges and delay the case.
Kindly prepare your submissions and then come and submit on that application in whatever manner you want to submit. Then I'll make a decision.
This was Justice Mugambe's ruling that sparked objections from the petitioners, Nelson Harvey and Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi.
All the parties are on the same pedestal, or whether some people, because of their position, will have favorable advantage than others.
14 days as proposed by Mr. Kipkoge is way out of line. We are considering a petition by the head of an arm of government.
Mugambe had just extended orders barring the hearing of an application seeking the empanelment of a bench to probe the conduct of the Chief Justice Martha Koome and the other 6 apex judges with the intention of removing them.
That it is not possible to empanel because the Chief Justice is the petitioner. You know that very well. You can take notice of the proceedings before you do.
Council, why don't you comply? Then you can come and make your submissions. I think that is the best way to do this.
The 2 advocates argue that the petition ought to have been dismissed on the basis that it is impractical for the Chief Justice to set up a bench to hear a case against her.
Give us a hearing date to come and hear the petition next week. And this being the lead file, this disposal either way will determine the rest of the 6 petitions.
However, Justice Mugambe averred the application had been made as part of the issues that his court must first deal with. The court further directed the application be served in the next 3 days and responses received within 3 days and submissions made on 28th of March. Harvey and Ahmed Nasir are among the petitioners who want CJ Martha Koome and other Supreme Court judges removed from office, alleging the incompetence and misconduct. Elsewhere, the High Court has directed a case filed by the Music Copyright of Kenya over royalties be referred to the Copyright Tribunal for determination. In her ruling, Justice Wayo Mongare said MCSK had not exhausted all internal mechanisms for dispute resolution. Ruth Wamboi for Prime Edition.
Jet A1, cheza aviator bila data bila credo. Dial *892# for instant takeoff. Pepea bila pressure kucrash au kucash out. Aviator bila data, aviator bila credo. Uko na kabambe, wewe pia ni rubani mnoma. Dial *892#. Jet A1, michezobet.com. Cheza kwa kuwajibika. Kushiriki ni miaka 18 au zaidi. BCLB license number 0000664.
Welcome back. Let's continue to inform you now to our story that sets the pace for our conversation. The impact of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere has become a matter of concern to climate scientists as well as the public who feel the impacts of climate change. A researcher, Dr. Daniel Wanjuki, has developed biological solutions that can help deal with methane gas at the source. As Opicho Chimtai reports, using a bacteria known as EcoTreat waste digester that breaks down methane to ethanol once ingested by the animals through the feeds holds the answer to a complex situation that planet Earth finds itself in. The bacteria converts waste effluent to water and garbage to compost while eliminating methane gas. A fully developed cow can emit up to 500 liters of methane each day, which accounts for approximately 3.7%. Watch.
Climate change and its impacts continue to confound many scientists. The continuing emissions of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere is complicating an already worse situation that has seen global temperature rise and changing weather patterns. But one climate scientist and researcher, Dr. Daniel Wanjuki, holds the answer to one of the most problematic gases, methane gas.
Thank you very much.
In Kitengela, Machakos County, we meet Dr. Daniel Wanjuki in his homestead. Next to the gate is a truck that has been converted to a breeding ground for the useful bacteria.
Okay.
First, he takes us through the process of identifying and isolating the bacteria culture.
The first thing I have to do is to identify a pristine environment where bacteria has not had a lot of impact from chemicals and other agricultural activities. I normally pick this sample and put it inside here, where boiling water at the bottom there will generate steam. I'm going to now isolate the bacteria I want, the single bacteria culture I'm looking for. That could be one that is able to withstand temperatures above 60 degrees, that can break down sugars, that can break down proteins, and that can break down fats. I'm able to multiply it now to commercialize it.
He then takes us through the stages of developing the EcoTreat waste digester.
They feed it with different nutrients. We give it a certain, we call it a media, or nutrient media, where it is able to grow. That's what we put in these containers, and the bacteria, since it is getting all the food types it requires, it is able to multiply.
The last phase is harvesting and drying the bacteria, which he says depends on consumer preference.
It multiplies to very big numbers. It forms a crust on top. The crust you are seeing, the creamy part you are seeing on top, is what helps us now get the solid. Because this is pure bacteria cultures. You pick them, you dry them using specialized temperature controlled units, and that is the dryers. That is how you get the powder now.
As Dr. Wanjuki explains, the bacteria culture has also proven efficiency in eliminating methane gas from animal waste, sewer water, effluent, and solid waste, which are key emitters of the gas.
It can be incorporated into animal feeds, and when it's done, it actually helps break down the waste in the stomach of a cow or a goat, and it converts all the feed into usable material instead of forming methane gas. So if we introduce this product into a pit rat in a school, they will never dig another pit rat, because this breaks down the waste completely into just this water, nitrogen, and carbon dioxide.
One of those who have used the bacteria successfully are in the hotel industry in Isinya, Kajiado County, where Margaret Wanja, a resort manager, narrates how they are maximizing the benefits of the EcoTreat waste digester in managing effluent and solid waste.
With the treatment, the water, the final product of all the water that we use in the kitchen, in the accommodation, so all this water goes through the treatment process, and the end product is as good as the initial water.
A few kilometers away, we meet William Kiarie, who explains how his resort is also utilizing refined recycled water by the bacteria that helps in cutting costs and reduce wastage.
We generate a lot of wastewater, and before then it was very difficult managing that wastewater because we were either using exhausters, it's very expensive. So that's helping us manage the wastewater, is helping us grow these trees, and in a very dry area, you can see it's always green, the trees are growing fast, and we think maybe in a few more years this will be a big forest.
Both coming from one of the arid and semi-arid land counties in the country, this innovation is providing solutions while at the same time conserving and maintaining a lush green environment.
They say necessity is a mother of invention. With this innovation being done here of harnessing ecotreat bacteria, if well tapped into, it could be the ultimate solution of reducing the emission of methane into the atmosphere. Opicho Chemtai reporting for KBC Channel 1 from Kitengela.
Thank you, Opicho Chemtai, for that report. Very detailed, and that is what makes a segue for our conversation tonight. And Dr. Daniel Wanjuki is here. He is the Chief Executive Officer, EcoSave Africa. Daktari, asante.
Thanks so much for having me.
Is this the silver bullet to methane reduction?
Yes, indeed. When you look at the civilization, since around 200 years ago, we stopped doing open defecation and we started doing communal wastewater treatment, municipal treatment, pit latrines. We put our waste in one place. And when that happens, the breakdown of waste has the resultant effect of emitting methane gas. I'm saying it before then, about 200 years ago, we didn't have methane gas from human activity.
Okay.
But now that we are in this situation where every other town, every other village has a communal toilet, a communal dump site, a communal agricultural activity going on.
Yeah.
It means that waste is decomposing and emitting methane. And methane gas going into the environment is causing far much more damage than carbon dioxide.
Okay, really? So now with this increased human activities as a researcher, do we have other promising inventions, biological solutions to methane regulation?
Okay, what I had is an advantage of being a microbiologist. I knew what bacteria could be used for. And so this particular one has been identified to be the most effective in avoiding methane gas, at the same time being friendly to humans and plants and everything around. So there could be other bacteria, but they may be having other side effects that are not friendly. For example, they could be pathogenic to plants. So if you use manure made out of this product, then you introduce into the farm, your plants could be sick, could be contaminated. But this particular bacteria, the one we are working with in EcoTreat, does not have any pathogenic effect. In humans, it just passes through the stomach with no harm. In animals, it actually converts the waste into ethanol, and ethanol is actually a food, it's a nutrient. Ethanol is the same thing that is in beer or alcohol or whiskey. So it is not dangerous. That part on its own ensures that we are having a byproduct that can actually be used by the animals.
Okay,
yeah.
I hear you. So then talk to me about the role that natural ecosystem plays. You know, when you talk about the interconnected community of plants, animals, environment at large, what does this do in terms of regulating methane emission? Now that we're talking about friendly ways of doing this.
Yeah, in nature, there are several bacteria that are used for decomposing. For example, a dog gets knocked on the side road and on the road reserve, it's there for a number of weeks, then it disappears. Somehow, there are microorganisms that do that. But there are microorganisms that come in with a bigger impact in that they will eliminate the odor, so that decomposing dog will not smell. It's going to reduce that to water and the nutrients. And the next time it rains, that place where the dog was, we are going to have very lush grass. The vegetation around there will grow because the nutrients have been released. That is what informed us in the harnessing bacteria, natural bacteria that can actually be used for controlling waste management, for controlling methane generation, and also for even increasing your food output. When, well, for example, a cow feeds on about 40 kilograms of food, hay or whatever, about 26% of that is normally lost through methane gas. And when it belches, and a cow belches, And so that is lost, it cannot be available to the cow. But now when we use our product, EcoTreat, it is actually able to convert that percentage, about 26 to 40, into ethanol, and the ethanol is actually absorbed by the animal. So it's going to increase the feed, the value of the feed, and also eliminate the methane gas.
So clearly the natural ecosystem plays a significant role into this. All right, what government policies or incentives can be used to enhance such biological solutions? Because given human activities are increasing.
The government at the moment could try to harness this technology by actually using it for cleaning up of rivers. Like, our rivers actually smell. When you pass through some of the areas where our Nairobi River passes through, the river actually smells and actually generates methane gas.
Okay.
Because the decomposition happening in that river is actually anaerobic, it's releasing volumes of gas. And this methane gas, in one instance, we actually were able to light up a part of the river. So
talking about the policies that, can be enacted by governments in terms of enhancing these solutions that you're just talking about.
I want to go to that. Now, when the government is confronted with this information, what the government should do is to ensure that we manage our waste in a better way that eliminates that phase where we dump waste at Ruai or Dadora, and instead we do recycling. We promote wastewater recycling. We promote composting of garbage from the market, such that it doesn't go to the dump site. Much of the waste in the market, Marikiti or the other places, is nutrients that should go back to the Nyandaro where the potatoes came from.
So basically, I hear you.
Just do recycling and embrace recycling as the only way to handle
So waste. The government should ensure these things are put in place.
Yes.
I hear you. And now it will be a disservice for us to exit this discussion without talking about what you and I can do to actually reduce methane emissions. Very quickly, what can we do?
The first thing as an individual you could do is that you would ensure that the system, wastewater management system in your compound actually allows you to recycle the wastewater, to use that water for greening. What we have seen on some of the establishments somewhere in Kajiado. When you recycle that wastewater, you grow trees, you're actually absorbing carbon and you're actually combating climate change. So as an individual, ensure that your waste does not become part of the problem in the environment by reducing methane gas. So recycle the wastewater, use EcoTreat, the product, that bacteria that will eliminate methane gas, because methane gas is actually what is accelerating the climate change. And also ensure that in your compound you have a way of managing your compost. Your bananas shouldn't go to the dump site.
I hear you.
You should recycle that, make some nice gardens around your compound.
I hear you.
Just grow one fruit if you can using that waste.
More of take responsibility, taking responsibility, I should say.
Thank
you so much, Daktari. Dr. Daniel Wanjuki has been our guest tonight, just basically looking at the biological solutions in reducing methane. He is the Chief Executive Officer, EcoSave Africa. Time for us to go for a very quick breather. We come back with plenty more, including business and sports. Don't go anywhere.
Inuka na loto moto sasa kwa star 570 hash option ya 4 kuna kashamba juja na nika 50 by 100 worth 1.7 million Kenyan shillings. Na hii si shamba tu, iko kwa prime location, few minutes from Juja Town. Stima yako iko ndani, na kama ni development rapid and so promising. Na mambo ya landlord, mwisho wa mwanzo ni hapa. Ukishinda hili shamba tunakuongeza 1 million Kenyan shillings ujijengee nyumba yako kwa shamba yako. Kuinuka na loto moto ni kucheza sasa hivi kupitia star 570 hash option ya 4 au register deposit na ucheze sasa hivi kwa www.tushinde.com na ujishindie shamba hili na addition of 1 million Kenyan shillings. Inuka na loto moto!
Welcome back. And now a report by the Controller of Budget, Dr. Margaret Nyakango, reveals counties prioritized foreign trips and setting allowances for the delivery of services and development. In the latest county government budget review report for the first half of the financial year 2024-2025, county assemblies spent 37% of their total allocated budget on MCA's sitting allowances, higher than the approved budget of 35%. Uasin Gishu County MCAs each pocketed a whopping 169 shillings per sitting, while Nairobi County topped the list of the highest spenders after 138 City Hall officials pocketed 368 million shillings on 20 domestic and foreign trips.
It is not taken to the consolidated fund, is it? No, it is one of those funds that are outside the purview of the control of budget.
The Controller of Budget, Dr. Margaret Nyakango, has yet again unearthed what appears to be loss and wastage of public funds at the county level. In the latest county government budget review report for the first half of the financial year 2024-2025, county assemblies are on the spot for spending 722.89 million shillings on MCA sitting allowances, surpassing the ceiling. The report shows 44 ward representatives from Uasin Gishu County each pocketed a staggering 130,169 shillings per sitting, costing the taxpayers 17.18 million shillings. 18 MCAs from Isiolo County received a whopping 124,981 shillings per sitting, totaling to 6.75 million shillings. Machakos County ward reps were not left behind, as 61 MCAs each pocketed 116,716 shillings. Other counties on the list of heavy spenders are Homa Bay, Kitui and Nyamira counties. The capital city, Nairobi, topped the charts in travel, with the Johnson Sakaja-led county taking a total of 20 trips abroad, which included 5 by the executive and 15 by the county assembly. 138 officers from City Hall traveled to Singapore, Turkey, Tanzania, Switzerland, United Arab Emirates, Washington, D.C., Uganda and South Africa. The trip saw the taxpayer cough at least 368 million shillings. In Nakuru County, 48 officers from the county assembly made 9 foreign trips to London, Singapore, Tanzania, Dubai and Turkey for 152 million shillings. Other counties on the spot are Nyeri, Nandi and Elgeyo Marakwet. The Control of Budget has also expressed concerns that 50% of counties are using manual payrolls, prone to abuse and could lead to the loss of public funds if proper controls are lacking. Other issues raised by the Control of Budget are the outstanding pending bills of 180.52 billion shillings, comprising of 143.49 billion shillings for recurrent activities and 37.03 billion shillings for development activities. The counties with the highest spending bills included Nairobi City at 118.26 billion, Kiambu at 5.63 billion, Machakos at 5.07 billion, Mombasa at 3.72 billion, and Bungoma at 2.83 billion. The 733-page report also revealed minimal development in some counties despite funds being availed by Treasury, namely Elgeyo Marakwet, Lamu, Nakuru and Kitui each spent 5% on development, while Taita Taveta, Kisumu, Nairobi City and Nyeri County each at 6%, Baringo and Tana River at 7%. The Control of Budget has urged Parliament, the county government and the National Treasury to implement the recommendations outlined in the report. Abdiaziz Hashim for Prime Edition.
Lunch break.
Female genital mutilation remains a thorny issue in various communities. Filmmakers are using art to show the intricacies surrounding FGM. On cinemas and theatre tonight, we focus on Sarah, a film shot in the Ma language to shed light on the challenges of FGM and its impact on communities that practice it.
Sarah is a film inspired by 15 years of work in the Loiter Hills by SafeMa, the Loiter-based All Maasai grassroots branch of Sponsored Arts for Education. The film follows Sarah, a young Maasai girl whose life takes a dramatic turn when her family faces a critical decision. Whether to uphold traditional rights or embrace change. Unlike many girls in her community, Sarah has been allowed to attend school and she dreams of a bright future. Her best friend Evelyn walks her to school daily, yearning for the same opportunity to learn. However, unbeknown to Sarah, her family is struggling financially. A wealthy suitor has offered a dowry for her hand in marriage, forcing them to consider female genital cutting as part of the traditional pathway to marriage.
Called SafeMa, which was initially designed to address HIV education, which in 2005 there was no HIV education happening in Loiter. But I didn't want to use a traditional theatre play because it's not culture. But I suggested to them that perhaps we could use the Maasai songs. And they were both like, well, then you understand. This is a way of passing information. It was a way of engaging a community in a culturally appropriate way, but in a way that was respectful and non-judgmental. And I think when Sarah saw how effective that was, she came to us in 2007 and said, I would really like to do something on female genital mutilation abandonment.
Due to many challenges that women pass through the cut, and I myself also passed a lot of difficulties during that time that I was undergoing the cut. I feel that when the film Sarah is there, it is another weapon that will assist us to fight those harmful practices in our communities.
Film director Nick Redding highlights that the cast consisted of individuals who had never been on a film set before. He adds that producing the film in the native Maasai language enhanced its authenticity, making the storytelling even more powerful.
I didn't want to give them scripts and say, oh no, this line, that line. You know, I wanted it to have an improvisational style. So we worked around truth and, you know, we'd give characters what their character was, what they wanted, what had happened to them, and then allowed the cast to improvise scenes.
Sarah recently had its world premiere at the Pan-African Film Festival in Los Angeles. Producer Sarah Tenoi describes the film as a crucial advocacy tool. Through screenings in schools, village centers, and decision-making forums in Kenya and internationally, the film aims to accelerate efforts to end female genital cutting.
They feel that Sarah film will be something that safe will live to be learned, to be a subject, to be learned in our community. And it will give also women to raise their voices on their right issues.
I think people who come from cultures where it's not practiced find it very difficult to talk about, to understand. And I think what the film is able to do is to demystify it and show the cultural norm that has allowed this practice to continue, but also to show how people are standing up against it.
As Sarah's mother advocates against female genital cutting, her father grapples with societal and economic pressures to uphold tradition. Sarah loves her education, but the long drought and financial hardship are pushing her family towards a difficult decision. A generous dowry offer could help them rebuild their wealth, but at what cost? Will Sarah overcome the challenges ahead? Jacqueline Masharia for Cinemas and Theatre.
Thank you for staying with Prime Edition. From cinemas and theatres, we now get the latest in the world of business. My name is Betty Kiptum. The future of cash-strapped National Oil Corporation of Kenya now remains uncertain, with the National Assembly calling for the disbandment of the state agency. The decades-old upstream and downstream oil company has been in the red for the last 5 years, unable to pay workers and meet its financial obligations. The once cash-flush parastatal is on the verge of collapse unless the government intervenes.
When Parliament established the National Oil Corporation in 1981 through an Act of Parliament, the vision was to have a government parastatal that handles strategic reserves of oil and gas and stabilize the market. But the vision now appears dim for cash-strapped National Oil Corporation. Appearing before the National Assembly Energy Committee, the State Department of Petroleum submitted National Oil Corporation was facing cash flow woes and was unable to pay employees' salaries for 3 months. The State Department admitted it had relocated at least 350 million shillings to National Oil Corporation from the Petroleum Development Fund so that employees can get paid this month.
I am told even UNOC, the sister company, the sister in Uganda, came to Kenya to benchmark with Kenya. And now UNOC, Kenya should go to UNOC to benchmark now.
MPs queried the viability of sustaining the corporation, yet it was no longer profitable.
I think we have been having a discussion in this meeting several times on the sustainability of NOC, as to whether it is time now to disband NOC. But in a situation where NOC cannot even pay salaries for workers for 3 months, is it worth having this entity?
While some members call for disbandment of the corporation, others claim there is a plot to cripple the oil marketer.
The ministry policy has not really been pushing NOC on the side of being on the side of strategic reserve. Because if that was the case, the equipment that has been inherited by KPC, that is KPRL, then KPRL would have actually gone to NOC so that we have those assets for storage.
The National Oil Corporation is now seeking a strategic partner to enhance its market share and operations. Gishuki Washira, Prime Edition.
And the government says no homeowner will lose their house acquired through the affordable housing program as a result of land repossession. Lands Cabinet Secretary Alice Wahome says the ministry has formed a committee that includes the National Land Commission to deal with all processes related to land settlement where affordable housing projects are being undertaken. Alan Auko has more details.
A report by the Auditor General released last month said that land ownership documents for affordable housing projects valued at close to 50 billion shillings were unavailable during the audit period. The report had warned that without records, it remains unclear whether proper land ownership structures are in place to facilitate the issuance of titles to homeowners. But the government says it can account for all the land set aside for the affordable housing projects.
I want to assure Kenyans that through the affordable housing program, we are using public land for purposes of construction, and all processes that are necessary to regularize or to legitimize or to ensure that what we have done with the public land is done within the law.
Lands Cabinet Secretary Alice Wahome says there is no need for alarm, saying the whole process is being done above board.
So we have clarified. The fear is that this land may not be available. I am the minister also for lands, and I have already put in place a technical team to streamline and deal with any technical issue that may arise for moving the land from public to individuals who will have become beneficiaries of the housing units that they will buy.
Speaking during an investor meeting for the upcoming multi-billion shillings Stony Athi waterfront in Machakos County, National Housing Corporation Managing Director David Modho said the project will be undertaken through the public-private partnership.
It's in this light then that we intend to utilize the balance of our land at Stony Athi, which is around 135 acres. Initially, we'll carve out the initial 23 acres of land. We will enter into a PPP arrangement to develop about 2,820 housing units in form of apartments, high-rise apartments.
And even Vihiga, we're putting up in Vihiga, the government is putting Vihiga and the Kakamega. We want every account to be like that, so everybody is a Kenyan, those youngsters, even the teachers and so on, they can have houses.
The Land CS has also announced the first batch of 4,888 units under the affordable houses will be offloaded to the market in April this year. Even as the government comes up with a technical committee that will look at the land issue where the affordable houses will sit, it also assures buyers that in coming consecutive governments, no house will be taken away from you in the coming years. Alan Aoko, Prime Edition.
The government is calling on players in the construction value chain to produce eco-friendly products to mitigate against the impact of climate change. Board of Registration of Architects and Quantity Surveyors Chair Architect Sylvester Muli says there is need to reduce carbon emissions and energy consumption in the sector in order to address climate change crisis.
According to the United Nations Environmental Programme, the buildings and construction account for 37% of total global emissions, making it the largest emitter of greenhouse gases. Experts say deploying green practices in the sector will help deal with the growing climate crisis. Board of Registration of Architects and Quantity Surveyors Chairperson Architect Sylvester Muli says regulatory bodies should implement policies and standards that encourage eco-friendly production.
We are talking about climate change, and they've already introduced pains that respond to that climate change, which is quite encouraging. We shall continue encouraging our architects and quant surveyors to embrace the new technologies, the new innovations that are coming out from people like Crown, so that we can continue enriching the environment that we design.
The need to come together in terms of supporting their CPD program so that we can have a conversation around paints and the sustainability in the paints industry as far as going green is concerned.
Speaking during a signing of a memorandum of understanding between Borax and Crown Paints, Moody has asked architects and quantity surveyors to register their projects on the Borax portal. Frederick Mwoki for Prime Edition.
And that is the business news this evening. Sports news is coming up with Karen Kibet. My name is Betty Kiptum. Good night.
Jet A1, cheza avieta bila data bila credo. Dial *892# for instant takeoff. Pepea bila pressure kucrash au kucash out. Avieta bila data, avieta bila credo. Uko na kabambe, wewe pia ni rubani mnoma. Dial *892#. Jet A1, michezobets.com. Cheza kwa kuwajibika. Kushiriki ni miaka 18 au zaidi. BCLB license number 0000664.
We were going to tell you. We were drunk that day.
Damn you, Liang Shanshan. Don't show off your love around me. At least, give me some time to get used to it.
They got together. Huh? They're dating. Keep quiet. Just throw in the headphones. She won't hear us. You think of course it is true.
And if I hadn't asked? If I didn't find out, did you plan to keep it from me forever?
A very good evening to you. I do hope you're holding up well. Let's now take a look at what's making headlines in the world of sports. My name is Karen Kibet. Now, the World Athletics President Sebastian Coe believes that athletics and sports in general can be used to raise awareness on the challenges the world is facing on gender-based violence. Coe met with Cabinet Secretary for Sports Honorable Salim Mvurya today to discuss both the gender-based violence menace in sports and world, and also the fight against doping as World Athletics continues to encourage running clean among athletes.
We wanted to discuss two key areas. One was the ongoing fight in the anti-doping space, which the Kenyan government have been so supportive of all our efforts. And the second key area, and the very prominent challenge around gender-based violence, not entirely or uniquely linked to sport, but I think the recognition that we can use sport as a way of raising the profile of this challenge, particularly in the wake of the awful events so recently involving the sport of athletics. And so I'm delighted to be here to look at the ongoing work, to support the work of the Kenyan government in this space through our efforts at World Athletics with e-learning, and making sure that our education programs, our work around safe space and safeguarding is completely in alignment with the very good work that is now being undertaken by the Kenyan government.
The Kenya government has rolled out a gender-based violent effort in sports, and right now we have a whole secretariat headed by a CEO who have made a lot of progress, in identifying key areas that we need to work together to ensure that we protect women on matters sports, so that we don't have gender-based violence on matters sports. We have been reviewing also legislation, and we will soon be coming up with a policy that is going to provide guidance, as a critical foundation, to ensure that we inculcate gender-based violence preventive practices in the sports fraternity.
Meanwhile, Principal Secretary for Sports Engineer Peter Tum has flagged off the Kenya floorball team to the 2025 Special Olympics World Winter Games to be held from the 8th to the 15th of this month in Turin, Italy. The team, which received a 1 million shillings boost last week from National Bank, will head to Italy hunting for a medal, having prepared for the Games for more than a year. PS Tum expressed confidence in the team's ability to excel, reaffirming the government's commitment to supportive, inclusive sports. The team has been in a residential camp at Kasarani Stadium, and head coach William Wanjohi boasts of a fully fit squad ahead of their journey. More than 1,000 sportsmen and women are expected to compete in about 8 sporting disciplines at the Special World Olympic Winter Games in Turin.
The ministry has put about 30% of its resources to ensure that those who are enabled differently also participate in their talent nurturing, the talent search, and therefore through competitions like this we are assured that we are picking the right talents to compete favorably anywhere in this world.
The journey with Special Olympics is not only about the Olympics themselves, but it's also about discovering talent and also walking the journey with them. So ours is to continue doing so, even after they come back. One of the things that we are looking to support them in is seeing what do they do with, for example, the proceeds that they win from some of these Olympics.
We've been having a very good training program with them, and I am 100% sure that they are ready for the Games. As we depart tomorrow, we are very certain and hopeful that we'll come back with a gold medal.
The Junior Starlets head coach Mildred Cheche says that her side is ready for the biggest test that awaits them in the FIFA Women's World Cup qualifier against Uganda this weekend. Cheche says the away match will be a testing trial, but her junior side is determined to get a point, if not the maximum points. The junior starlets are looking for a second consecutive slot at the global event set to be held from the 5th to 27th of November this year in Qatar, having played at their first FIFA World Cup last year in the Dominican Republic, where they won 1 match against Mexico, but lost 2 matches against England and North Korea. They have been training in Nairobi ahead of their trip tomorrow, just 2 days before playing Uganda in the qualifiers.
We are expecting a positive result. If we can get the 3 points away, good for us. If we don't get the 3 points, we are pushing for at least 1 point, because this team is always blessed. They always work hard, they are motivated, they are ready to play every match.
Game ya wetu tunaenda kuchukua 3 points. Kila mtu ashajitolea. Kuanzia bidii ya coaches, officials hadi kwa sisi players. Kila mtu ako na imani tunaenda kuchukua 3 points tukuje nazo home.
Ukiwa mwanafunzi wanasemanga this time ukikuwa na target ya B, next time utakuwa na B+. So this last time tuliishia kwa group stage, and this time tuna believe tunaenda kwenda beyond.
And those were all the sports stories we had for you right here on KBC Channel 1. I'll see you tomorrow with more sports news. My name is Karen Kibet, but the bulletin is not yet over. I do hand you back to my colleague, Doreen. Doreen, take it over.
Thank you so much, Karen Kibet. And that's all the time we had for you tonight. Thank you so much for sticking around from 9 p.m. all through now, 10 p.m. and for choosing KBC Channel 1 to inform you this Wednesday. That's all the time we had for you tonight. This has been Prime Edition. I'm Doreen Arange. Lucy Maura has been our sign language interpreter. Good night.
Kupitia star 570 hash tunakupa nafasi ya kuchomoka na this beautiful Mazda Demio.
Enjoy a beautiful clean semi-leather interior, low mileage, fuel-efficient 1300cc engine, great for personal use and business.
Ukitaka kujishindia gari hii, kucheza ni rahisi sana. Chukua simu yako, bonyeza star 570 hash, chagua option 3. And for only 35 shillings, hii gari inaweza kuwa yako. Kumbuka kucheza mara kadhaa, because the more you play, the higher chances of wewe kuwa mshindi.
Mungu ni mwema, asante Mungu. Ile nitakuwa naendesha hivi.
Dial star 570 hash and make this dream car yours.
Cheza Loto Moto. Pindi tunapowasha vifaa vyetu, tunapata fursa ya kutangamana na wasikilizaji wetu.
Karibu sana thĩinĩ wa tabarĩra ya Rwiga.
Tunapeperusha utangazaji uliobobea katika habari,
ni ũndũ wa macio na mangĩ maingĩ,
burudani,
aha nĩ harĩa tũkoragwo tũkĩigua nyĩmbo mwaki nyĩmbo hot
na hamasisho la kiroho. Usiachwe nyuma, jiunge nasi kwa safari ya kufana katika 99.5 FM. Soro FM.
Do you work in